Here, man, it's crazy. Today has been crazy. So, Dillian Whyte and Dereck Chisora give one of the best fights, heavyweight fights that I've seen in a long time. The last really good one I could probably say was, I can't remember. I'm talking about one that was action packed throughout 12 rounds. But then, not only that, and we're going to talk about it all in detail. Not only did that happen, but then you had Anthony Joshua versus Wladimir Klitschko become official when Eddie Hearn announced in the ring, after Anthony Joshua stopped Eric Molina in 3 rounds. And Eric Molina, he didn't want to come to fight, man. Eric Molina didn't want to. Eric Molina did not want to fight. He came for the check. After that first left hook, I believe it was round 1, that barely grazed him. He came for the check. So what I'm looking for is we're going to listen to it for those who didn't listen to it, as cringeworthy as it is. And then we're going to talk. But remember, I'm only playing this because you have to understand. There's going to be some people that say, oh, we heard it or we saw it and all that. This is for the people who didn't. All right? This is for the people who didn't see it. So just be calm and courteous. I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. We're going to be here for no more than an hour because, remember, we still got so much boxing left. I just got finished. Before I turned to this, I was watching there's free boxing on the Showtime Facebook page. It's the undercard of Cuellar Maris, Jamal Charlo, Julian Williams. It's the undercard before the Showtime, regular Showtime Championship televised card. Then you got the Chavez Jr. card that's going to be on beIN Sports starting at 11 p.m. Then you got Top Rank, who has their undercard streaming on the Top Rank website. Then you got Crawford versus Molina. That's going to be at 9:35 Eastern Standard Time. It's 8:48 Eastern Standard Time, but there are 2 fights that they're airing before that main event, which is going to be Andy Ruiz versus Joseph Parker, or Joseph Parker, Andy Ruiz. Tape delay from earlier. Then Ray Beltran versus Mason Menard. Then you got the return of David Peralta, who beat Robert Guerrero in his last fight. So, it's a lot of shit going on. So let me get this little bit of shit together that I got to do. We're going to talk about boxing in detail, all those fights that I just talked about. And as you can see, I've been working all day. We pumping out videos. It's a machine. So I'll be right back. Listen to this.
You're a man in demand. If you want your photos first. Anthony, good to see Rob McCracken on your shoulder there, the first fight of this new partnership. Let me talk about the fight first. Eric Molina, everybody was talking on paper that it could be a potential banana skin, with everybody talking about the future. Disaster averted for you tonight.
Disaster
Averted.
I don't even know what averted means.
Avoided. There's no disasters for you tonight.
No disasters. But, he was trying to tee up with some haymakers. Excuse the pun. But, I said when boxing, they look for the shots to try and stop you. I bet I was patient because, as I said, people are fresh early on. And we move on. It's not the end of the story yet. We're still on that grind. So we get back to the drawing board and move on to 2017.
Taking nothing away from Eric Molina, but were you surprised at his negative tactics tonight, or did you simply not allow him to get into the fight?
It's 2 types of thing they can do. You can get a Dillian and Dereck type of fight, or you can get someone who comes in the ring like Eric Molina. So it's hard, though, dealing with a negative fighter who's not giving you many options, because someone who's boxing with you can give you opportunities. Someone who's waiting on the back foot, you've got to create them. So I just had to be patient and create the opportunity. So no problem. It's a star that you've got to deal with, and there'll be many more when I step into this ring.
Do you feel that you've got that fear factor about you now, though, that some opponents are beating themselves before they get into the ring with 18 straight knockouts?
No. These opponents, because I'm not one to talk, but I'm not one to mess around. But still, if I was to start talking, I think they'll realize what I'm really about. But it's like that until you step in the ring with someone, you don't know what you're facing. People go off the past, like when I was an amateur and stuff like that. But I stayed consistent, I stayed dedicated, and I'm still not at my peak yet. So, you know, the longer I keep on training and staying in the gym, the better I'll become.
It's a strange mix that you're heavyweight champion of the world, but I think in your own words and Rob McCracken's words as well, you're still a heavyweight in progress. Are we seeing developments, especially now you are working with Rob McCracken, your old amateur trainer?
Yeah, man. Like, all the coaches that I'm working with are putting in an effort. You can't just forget, like, the nutritionists, the physios, the medical team, McCracken, Sims, Selks, Max. The list goes on, do you know what I mean? So everyone that's putting in work is really producing what they're seeing in the ring right now.
Okay, let's move things forward to the future. Do you feel now that after that defence of your title, a relatively straightforward defence, that you're ready to step up to the next level of opponents now? I can see an array of heavyweights at ringside.
No problem.
Okay, seems like a good time to bring in promoter Eddie Hearn. What's next?
Well, I think tonight is as good a time as any to announce what's next. And at this time, I'd like to bring in Bernd Bonte and Wladimir Klitschko to the ring right now in Manchester.
So, Eddie, Vladimir's here, Anthony's here. What is in the pipeline?
I'd like to officially announce Anthony Joshua against Wladimir Klitschko at Wembley Stadium on April the 29th, live and exclusive on Sky Box Office for the Unified Heavyweight Championship of the world.
Wladimir, welcome to Manchester. What did you make of Anthony's performance, and how excited are you about the prospect of facing him?
First of all, congratulations to you, champ. AJ, you got it. I was watching AJ fighting in London 2012 when he won gold medal. I never thought to ask you this question. I want to ask you 3 questions. Do you want to see a big fight? Do you want to see a fight where 2 Olympic champions are involved? Do you want to see fight AJ against WK? I don't hear you. You got it. I love you guys. You're awesome.
Anthony, he's here. Apparently the deal is done. Wembley Stadium. How do you feel about that?
What happened to London O2 Arena? The good times. But listen, we move on to a bigger arena. More people can come and view it. I shared the ring with the champ. Very respectful man outside the ring. Very competitive in the ring. And 2 warriors are coming together. This is the step up that people have wanted. Klitschko wants his belts back. May the best man win.
Wladimir, why Anthony Joshua?
He is the best man in the division. And I believe this excitement speaks for itself. So that's what actually fans want. And I think there's no doubt that this fight must happen.
You've boxed in England early in your career, but you're willing to come back to the home of English football, Wembley Stadium, 80,000 people, to take on a man that you've sparred and a man that a lot of people are labelling the next great heavyweight, perhaps after yourself.
Listen, such amazing fight and big fight has to take an amazing place as Wembley Stadium. It's a great location, and April 29th, I believe, that's the date, so hopefully it's going to remain the same. So we will continue with our promotion, and one more time, congratulations to AJ, well done, clean, clear win, and I'm looking forward to the next fight in April.
A question to both of you. Anthony first, how do you beat Wladimir Klitschko?
Can't reveal that, but listen, how I beat him is be myself. Worry about myself, focus on my own training, and come with a positive attitude. That's how I go about beating Klitschko.
Wladimir, how do you beat Anthony Joshua?
I've been doing this job for 26 years, so I do have a lot of knowledge, and this knowledge will definitely help me in the ring.
Okay, well, we can't wait for both. You've got something else to say, go on.
You can't miss it, you gotta watch it.
You gotta watch it, 100%. This has been 3 years in the making, and it's here now. Patiently, you guys have been waiting on my journey, and we're here. 2017, big up, because we're coming.
Let's just go back to Eddie Hearn, who has announced this huge fight. A lot of people will be asking, is this the right time for Anthony to step up against a heavyweight who was so dominant for over a decade?
It's the time.
All right. So yeah, like I said earlier, it's a lot of boxing going on today. So basically, we're going to be here for another. We can do 45 minutes. The reason why is, as you can see, I pumped out a good portion of probably like 80 videos over the last couple of weeks with multiple hours of live streams. So I'm really trying to keep a nice little schedule. I had to start really early, like 6 a.m. this morning. Right now it's 8:56 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with the Joseph Parker Andy Ruiz fight, which I covered live. Then during the midday, we had the Khalid Yafi versus Luis Concepcion. We had Scott Quigg versus Jose Cayetano, who he knocked the fuck out. We had, of course, Dillian Whyte versus Dereck Chisora. We had Colin Smith versus Luke Blackwell. And then tonight, we still have a lot of fights left. For example, I'm really excited about a fight that probably a lot of people are not excited about. Is I actually want to see motherfucking David Peralta fight. Remember, he beat Robert Guerrero. That fight is going to be on the Ring TV website for free. Also, if you want to watch another fire card, you got Cuellar versus Maris. That's on Showtime. Cuellar, in my opinion, is going to beat the shit out of Abner Maris. Just my personal opinion. Then you have Philly's Julian J-Rock Williams versus Jamal Charlo. I like J-Rock, but I'm slightly going with Jamal Charlo. Jamal Charlo is the better Charlo, the IBF champion, the one that beat Austin Trout. He's like 24-0 with 18 KOs. I believe that's right. He's the pressure fighter, power punching Charlo, not the WBC Charlo that had his problems with. I always get him confused, John Thompson or John Jackson, one of them, until he ended up knocking him out, but he had some problems with him. What else? You got Chavez Jr. fighting on beIN Sports against some Dominic British guy, but he's with Mimo Haradia. This is only the second fight where he's actually weighed in what he was supposed to weigh in at, under the 168-pound limit. You got Terrence Crawford versus John Molina. I'm interested to see Ray Beltran versus Mason Menard. And these fights are scattered across all these different channels. And then on the Top Rank website, you have that undercard that has Mike Reed and a couple of other fighters. Basically, the point I'm trying to make is it's a lot of motherfucking boxing going on, It's a lot of boxing going on. So I'm trying to keep, everything. I'm trying to keep everything going. I'm trying to keep everything going. But anyway, okay, first, let's start with Dereck Chisora versus Dillian Whyte. That's the way Dereck Chisora should fight all of his fights. It seems for this fight, he had an extra gear. He doesn't usually fight that. I need to put some boxing on in the background. Hold up. I need to put some boxing on in the background. Give me 1 minute. He needs to fight.
Moment for a lot of fighters.
Oh, he's talking to Mikey Garcia.
The fear crystallizes. What you
also, right now, live, y'all can do it in the background on the Facebook like page. They're talking to Mikey Garcia right now. They just talked to Jamel Charlo before this. So this is actually really good that they're doing. So from now on, they're going to be streaming the untelevised undercard on the Showtime Boxing website, which they Showtime Boxing Facebook page, what they should have been doing from the beginning. So basically, give me a minute. I'm trying to make sure that when I'm talking that there's boxing on in the background. So I got the Facebook like page, Showtime Boxing on, and I got the Top Rank one on right now. All right, so we good. I got the UFC prelims recording. I'm going to do all that tomorrow. So, yeah, I really feel that Dereck Chisora, this is the fight that Dereck Chisora should always be fighting. But the thing is, later on in the fight, he had that extra gear, right? Like, usually Dereck Chisora is known to be a pressure fighter, power puncher that usually just lumbers towards you with little head movement, and basically you can just beat him to the punch. But in this, he was more aggressive than I've seen him. He was a lot more aggressive. But the problem is later on in the fight, he started taking off about 1 to 2 minutes, 1.5 to 2 minutes of each round and tried to steal the rounds, to whereas earlier in the fight, the first half prior to rounds, I'm going to say 7 or 8, you would see that it was Dillian Whyte that would be relying on being the better boxer, you know, because he was working off of the jab and his punches were more telegraphed, you know, and not as wild and smothered as Dereck Chisora. Even though Chisora was successful, you could see that Dillian Whyte was relying on his boxing ability, but with the pressure, he didn't have enough to keep Dereck Chisora off of him. By the way, both of these guys were walking through each other punches. You know, at one point in time, you can go to my Instagram, which is right down below in the description box, where they were just going, you know, hook for hook. You can see that during you know, I'm going to say prior to rounds 7 and 8, that Dillian Whyte was ending up on the ropes a lot, and Dereck Chisora was just going to work, especially to the body. So it's crazy, because I was wondering, I was like, yo, I've covered probably maybe 8 or 9 since I've been on YouTube, maybe more, you know, Dereck Chisora fights in full, doing videos like this. And I never seen him fight like that. I never seen him fight like that. And it was making me wonder. It was making me wonder, like, where was this all before? And you can tell it was something like by watching the fight where you can tell that both of these fighters was like, yo, you know, Dereck Chisora was like, I'm not getting knocked the fuck out by him after, you know, he was talking all that shit. He threatened to kill me, you know, and then Dillian Whyte was like, I'm not getting knocked out by him because he bit me on the motherfucking titty and he threw a table at my trainer. You know, so you can tell both of these guys, they felt like, yo, if any of us get knocked out, then we'll be, you know, then, you know, whoever would have got knocked out, they wouldn't have heard the end of it. And I did say before this fight that both of these fighters were somewhat the same fighter, and that if either of them were to lose, whoever were to lose, that career would pretty much be in tatters. But that's not the case, because they both put up such a good, close fight. In my personal opinion, I feel that Dereck Chisora won. But as I said, I'm going to say from rounds 8 on, you can see that he was really, really tired, and he was just trying to take whatever Dillian Whyte was dishing out. And then during the last minute of the round, he would just come with some crazy flurry and damn near knock Dillian Whyte out. There were several times during the fight where I thought Dillian Whyte was going to get knocked the fuck out, you know, but he kept his ass up. There was one point in time in round 12 where Dereck Chisora hit him with this body shot. And right hook to the body. It was like right on like the belt, clearly clean shot. You see Dillian Whyte just do this little spin move, but then like signal like I'm not hurt. Now at this point in time that I'm talking about, both fighters were dead tired. But then to end the fight, about 10 seconds, no, it was about the 15, you know, second mark, Dereck Chisora hits him with it again. And then you see Dillian Whyte just going to the rope. But that was a punch that was landing continuously throughout the fight, you know. So I look at it like this: that's a fight where they can have a rematch, and it can be a career money-making fight for both fighters. I'm saying, like, yo, get that shit popping, because at one point in time, when Dereck Chisora was talking about, you know, like how he didn't care about the British Boxing Board of Control finding him and him losing his license and everything, I thought he was trying to throw the fight. And then when I heard that just 2 days ago before the weigh-in, no, 1 day ago before the weigh-in, or 2 days ago, I don't remember, after the final press conference, they were talking about how the fight could potentially be canceled, and who's that? Dereck Chisora being suspended for 2 years. Now he is serving a suspended, how can I put it? Okay, to simplify things without confusing shit for you, basically Dereck Chisora can still fight, but during his 2 years, he can't do no type of nothing crazy. He can't spit in nobody's face. He can't slap nobody. You know, he can't get glass. He can't threaten to kill nobody, or he's going to, it's like being on parole or probation. So basically, you know, if he do something, he's going to have to serve that 2 year suspension, you know, so he cool now. What is that? I need some water. My damn beard is growing all in my mouth and everything. But it's like they got to have a rematch for this. You know, this is a fight where I feel, I mean, let me read the chat. How many people feel that Dereck Chisora won You know, in my opinion, he won. But this is one of those fights where, remember, I know y'all still pissed off at me, and I know y'all want to continue to curse me out and call me names and all that. I hope that we're over it. But I had Andre Ward winning, beating Kovalev. You know, just like this morning, we're going to talk about it later on in the video. We got about 40 minutes left, and I have to stop in 40 minutes, and I will stop in 40 minutes. I was talking about it earlier, is that I feel that Andy Ruiz lost to Joseph Parker. And it was a very close fight. For the Joseph Parker Andy Ruiz fight, it was 114-114. One judge had it a draw, and then 115-113 both ways for Joseph Parker. And you had to think that this was in New Zealand, so a lot of people expected if Joseph Parker was going to win on the cards, it was going to be wide. But it all depends on what you're looking for. Remember, as I said before, there are many judges. They all score fights differently. There are some judges that go for clean, effective punching. There are some judges that go for the aggressor. That's why we have different scores. And some judges just don't know what the fuck they're talking about. But there's different scoring criteria. You know, these fights were close fights. Chisora versus Whyte was a close fight. But if you really were to look at who seemed to be in duress and who seemed to be the one in trouble for a good portion of the fight, it seemed like Dillian Whyte. The only issue that Dereck Chisora had was his he was gassing out. You know, because he was like, every time he tried to finish Dillian Whyte off after cracking him, you know, he would put all his energy into it, and then if it was still a minute left in the round, Dillian Whyte would recover and just start giving back to Dereck Chisora. But there was many times with these guys, if the punches they took from each other, it had to be will, because if they would have took these punches from other fighters, most likely they would have been knocked out. Remember, Dillian Whyte got knocked the hell out by Anthony Joshua, even though he did crack Anthony Joshua, and then Dereck Chisora got beat by a left-handed, right? A left-handed 6'9", 260-pound Tyson Fury. Then we saw how he looked against Pulev. We thought he was done. But in my opinion, you know, this is a fight where they have to, you know how, Eddie, you know it's a rematch coming. And truth be told, for both of these fighters, see, the fact that both of these fighters, you know, they're 50-50 in their fights, I wouldn't put these guys in any interim fights. You know, I wouldn't put these guys in any interim fights because, you know, I think both of these guys after that performance, and plus we know, come on, let's be honest. I like Dereck Chisora, you know, because not as a fighter more so, and I never really been like a fan, but the fact that you have to give respect where respect is due, that he's been in all these big fights, and for tonight where people thought that his career would be over, you know, he's still out there fighting, you know, but come on, get that man a payday. And then Dillian Whyte, you know, he'll never, you know, I'm sorry, but this is my personal opinion. Both of these guys put on a magnificent fight and one of the best heavyweight fights we've seen in God knows how long. But I don't see these guys being a world champion. And if they do become a world champion, either or, they're going to get the slow clap, standing on 1980s ovation. You know? But right now, give these guys a payday. You know, have Whyte versus, it's going to be Whyte versus Chisora 2. You know, put it in the 0-2. You know how Eddie Hearn just stacks up the undercard with God knows who. You know, he'll put a Scott Quigg on there. You know, bring back a Frankie Gavin. You know, put a Luke Campbell on there. You know, and it's going to sell. But the only thing is the build up, because then Dereck Chisora is facing a suspension. You know, so he might as well get a big payday. So that's the only thing. The build up can't be the same because this is man's career. You know, so that's the only thing that can't. You know, or one of them can now go into a title shot. I say Dereck Chisora can go on to fight a guy like, if he's ranked by the WBO, I say he can go on and fight a guy like a Joseph Parker. I say he can probably get, you know, believe it or not, you know, I just said that maybe they couldn't be a world champion, unlike Joseph Parker, but he's looking vulnerable. If the same Dereck Chisora that shows up tonight shows up to fight a Joseph Parker, he can beat a Joseph Parker. And the Ruiz could have been that fighter, but he was smothering his punches, and when he was close enough in range, not throwing enough. Just my personal opinion. Just my personal opinion, man. But the good thing is they did I just dug up my nose. I didn't dig all the way in there. I told you I got hairs and shit. Y'all can't see it, but they growing all in my beard is in an uproar. But you can see that at the end of the fight, they did embrace, and I believe it was around after the end of round 8, which was the best round in the fight, in my opinion. You know, they dapped up, did a little, you know, fist bump. So you can tell, I guess they, you know, they cool. You know, so I don't expect no trash talk to be at the post-fight press conference. I haven't had a chance to see it yet because I've been so busy. But yo, both of them guys deserve a payday for that, man. You know, they really did real good. Hold on, let me do this real quick. Yeah, all right. They really did better. The fight was better than I expected. I did say going into the fight that I wanted a knockout, but I can understand that we got such an exciting 12-round suspenseful fight because it was a fight that at that when we were listening to the cards, we knew it can go either way. And also each round from round 7 on, you know, somebody was very close to getting knocked out. We just didn't know who. It was many times where I was like, oh, he gonna get knocked out. Oh, he gonna get knocked out. And they just kept surviving. You know, they just kept surviving. They just kept surviving. But, you know, like I said, I just hope they do the rematch. So, of course, you know, Joshua versus Klitschko is official. Anthony Joshua is now 18-0 with 18 KOs. Eric Molina didn't want to fight. He didn't want to fight. Now, I keep hearing and I keep seeing people saying, well, he was waiting for Anthony Joshua to come in, you know, to get close so he can catch you with something clean. Man, get out of here. Man, get out of here. Yeah, I watched the Bagloni fight. Yeah, man. Yeah, get out of here, man. It was that first left hook that grazed him on the face in round 1. He didn't want to fight no more. You know? And I really thought that, well, you know, he could probably crack him once. This was his worst performance of any fight he's ever been in. You know, it was this worse than the Charles Martin, I guess. I don't know. You know, at least Charles Martin living life and he living good. You know, and he happy. Eric Molina, all this hype. I'm glad that they had, you know, a good solid undercard where people got beat the fuck up beforehand. For example, like I said, the Dillian Whyte Chisora fight was a fight that saved or helped the pay-per-view. It didn't save the pay-per-view because the pay-per-view was already lit. The Yafi Concepcion fight, Scott Quigg just knocked some dude the fuck out. Callum Smith, God forbid, I hope he's fine. He looked fine, but Callum Smith looked like he killed fucking Luke Blackledge. He was down. You know? You had the Luis Ortiz David Allen fight. Okay, before we go into Joshua versus Klitschko, let's talk about that situation a little more in detail. Luis Ortiz fought David Allen. I was upset at that fight because I'm thinking, well, David Allen is at that point in time before he lost today. He was 9-1-1. In his 11th fight, he's fighting Luis Ortiz at 24 years old with just a 2.5-week camp. It's like, who's his management? You know, but it's said that he pressured Eddie Hearn and everybody to make the fight, and they made the fight. During a post-fight interview on IFL, he said he would have took the money, he would have took the fight for free. They was being asked why he didn't take a knee. You know, he said he would only take a knee, you know, if it's in front of a beautiful woman. I mean, tough kid. He's 24 years old. But, you know, you can tell during the IFL interview that he was thinking to himself, or maybe it kind of crossed his mind, like, yeah, I shouldn't have took this fight this early in my career. So he did say, you know, that he's going to, you know, go back to growing his career, which he should have been doing, you know, from the first place, instead of getting in there with a Luis Ortiz, with a 2-week camp, with a beer pregnant belly, with that belly. You know, but tough kid. He didn't get hurt. There, him and Luis Ortiz took a picture. A lot of people thought that his jaw was broken, but no, he actually bit the shit out of his tongue. You know, so that's why he was talking like that, and moving his mouth around like that. But he wasn't, you You know, he wasn't hurt. He wasn't all bruised up. It's just that he took some clean shots. I don't like Anthony Joshua and Klitschko on a mic. Anthony Joshua, I like him as a fighter, and plus he's good for boxing as far as being like a humble dude and everything, and not having to curse and all that. But sometimes, you know, everything he says is just always so right. You know, everything he says is just always, and it's, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. I understand, you know, but he just way too robotic with it. You know, he'll say some shit like, well, you know I have to improve on things. We came out, we wanted to get these rounds. I didn't try my British accent, but it's just everything is just too, you know. And then my guy Klitschko on the microphone, you know, that's just horrible. You know, that shit is just, you just be looking like, yo, you cornball. But hey, I remember one time, I went to the Klitschko versus Jennings press conference, right? And I got a little too close to Klitschko with my little Samsung Galaxy S4, and he did this old look where he didn't move his face, but he moved his eyes, like, scared the shit out of me. He got all these muscles in his face. Scared the shit out of me. But yeah, back to Luis Ortiz and David Allen. There's something going on with Luis Ortiz, Shannon Briggs, Frezzo Quindo, and Alexander Ustinov. Now, Luis Ortiz was the former WBA interim champion. So basically, if somebody gets injured or vacate their belt or something like that happen, you become the champion. In this case, he should have been elevated to champion after Lucas Brown was suspended. Ruslan Chagiev retired after losing to Lucas Brown, and they gave the belt back to Ruslan Chagiev. He retired. Tyson Fury vacated his title. Luis Ortiz should have been elevated to the WBA World Champion, or the only WBA champion, but he was already in negotiations to fight Alexander Ustinov. It came the purse bid. The promoter of Alexander Ustinov won that purse bid. Just so happened as Rob Binsky, the same promoter, billionaire promoter of Alexander Povetkin. Luis Ortiz was going through some promotional issues with Golden Boy Promotions. Something happened where Eddie Hearn brought out Luis Ortiz from his promotional contract with Golden Boy or something along those lines and contacted the WBA. And quietly, Luis Ortiz was stripped of his WBA interim status, and he fought Malik Scott for the WBA Intercontinental or International, one of them underling belts. So now the question is, now that we know that Joshua and Klitschko are fighting for the WBA Super World and the IBF title on April the 29th, 2017 in Wembley. I'm going, by the way. Ain't that crazy? After all these years, TstreeT is going to London. Ain't that some crazy shit? Anyway, so Shannon Briggs was ordered to fight Lucas Brown. As you can see, Lucas Brown has been removed from the rankings because he failed 2 drug tests after being suspended and getting a slap on the wrist. He failed 2 drug tests within the last year. So now we're wondering what happens with Shannon Briggs. Is the WBA going to order Shannon Briggs to fight Alexander Ustinov because he gets first dibs before Luis Ortiz, because Luis Ortiz basically had his shot, but he vacated the title or was stripped by the WBA. But the WBA is saying basically that they quietly stripped him. So is it going to be Shannon Briggs versus Alexander Ustinov? Or is it going to be Shannon Briggs versus Luis Ortiz? Eddie Hearn, the promoter of Luis Ortiz, now is pushing for Luis Ortiz versus Shannon Briggs for February. If you notice, Shannon Briggs has been harassing and calling out every other heavyweight, but if you notice, he ain't been fucking with Luis Ortiz. They took a picture today. I wonder if they're like homies behind the scenes, or if Shannon Briggs just know he really don't want to fuck with him. You see what I'm saying? So there's multiple ways, you know, you can look at it. By the way, we're going to be here. We're going to be here for another 25 minutes. And what I'm going to do is after I'm going to repeat it again. We still got a long night of boxing ahead. So I have to cover Julian Williams versus Jamal Charlo for the IBF title. I have to cover Jesus Cuellar, WBA champion, WBA World Champion versus Abner Maris. I have to cover the Chavez Jr. fight. I have to cover the Crawford versus Molina fight. I have to cover what else? What else? Well, it's a bunch of other fights on the night. So what I'm going to do is about 1 hour or so after the final fight of the night is over, I'm going to do another live stream, and we're going to go basically all over all this stuff. And I'm not going to be talking so fast, and we'll be able to go into more detail with things. But anyway, to get back to what I was saying. So Luis Ortiz and Shannon Briggs could possibly happen in February, but is it going to be Shannon Briggs and Ustinov? Because whatever's going on with Ustinov, his promoter, Rob Binsky, could be like, yo, we're supposed to be fighting for that WBA world title because we were supposed to fight Luis Ortiz, but Luis Ortiz, you know, backed out of the fight, even though we won the purse bid. So they may not allow Shannon Briggs versus Luis Ortiz. You know, so one of these guys, well, something's going to happen. Luis Ortiz, Ustinov, again, even though a purse bid was already won for that fight by Rob Binsky, and Luis Ortiz was going to get a career high payday of about $500,000 or something like that, maybe a little more, I forgot. Or it's going to be Shannon Briggs versus Ustinov, or Shannon Briggs versus Luis Ortiz. You know, so it's going to be one, you know, of these, you know, fighters. So something is going, excuse me, something is going to go down. So let me read a little bit of the chat here and see what did I miss. There's a lot of shit going on right now. No, a lot of people are saying that in his last couple of fights, he didn't really look good, Luis Ortiz. When you look at David Allen, it's like, okay, well, you know, he won. When you look at the Malik Scott fight, I mean, he could have turned it up a little bit, but Malik Scott was running all over the place. You broke my heart, Malik Scott. You broke my heart. But Malik Scott was running and flopping all over the damn place, you know? So I'm hearing people saying that somebody said that would beat Luis Ortiz. Okay, I forgot. Somebody said some old craziness. Somebody that said somebody would beat Luis Ortiz when they didn't. But I mean, he's going through a little bit of a rough patch. But when you look through that, when you look at that Cuban school pedigree that he has, look at the fact that this is crazy fight going on the Showtime Facebook page. Look at the fact that Cuban school fighters forget things that these champions are just learning. You know, they're so, you know, skilled in so many ways. Also, Luis Ortiz can fight on the inside where he's much more suited, but he can hold his own on the outside. But I feel the inside is a much better place for him. Is a much better place for him. All right, so yeah, we still got about 20 minutes. We still got about 20 minutes left. So moving on. I like Andy Ruiz. It's just that he was smothering his punches. And the reason why I gave the fight to Joseph Parker was off the clean, effective punching, but I do not feel that Joseph Parker beats an Anthony Joshua. There's a lot of heavyweights I feel Joseph Parker would lose to, but is that the fact that Andy Ruiz made him look that bad? Or was it just that he's just not that good? You know? He's just not that good. I mean, I look at it like, he's good, but I don't see him like a pound for pound, unify the division heavyweight. He's got a lot of growing he needs to do. And he has to fight Hughie Fury within 120 days. You know, because it was supposed to be David Haye, but since David Haye took the fight with Tony Bellew, that the move to the next mandatory. So Joseph Parker is going to have a rough 2017. He's got to fight a mandatory and then a voluntary, or they may make him fight two mandatories. You know, so I'm wondering about him. You know, and then it's like, where's the uppercuts at? You know, there were many times where I saw he could have uppercut. It was Gerald Miller. That's who it was. He may have to, if Hughie Fury, if it's true what Gerald Big Baby Miller is saying, that Hughie Fury won't take that mandatory spot, then it will be Joseph Parker versus Gerald Big Baby Miller. And I got Gerald Big Baby Miller beating him. You know, so he's got to get his shit together. You know, I don't know what it is that he will have to work on. Here's the thing. Huey Fury is more of a boxer. He's not a knockout fighter. He's got that reach. He's got that length. He's about 6'7" or so. 6'6", 6'7". He's got the boxing ability, not the how can I put it? Not the intensity or tenacity to go out there and knock a person out. You know, but he does have the skills to outbox you, and it'll be a very nasty, ugly fight. But when it comes to Baby Miller, you know, Baby Miller is not going to fight like Andy Ruiz did, and he's going to be throwing some bombs and try to take Joseph Parker's head off. So Joseph Parker is really going to have to know, hey, it's not the mandatory for Joseph Parker. It's hey Parker. Did you not hear what I said, bro? Wait, Shams, did you not hear what I said? Hey, it's not going to be the mandatory because Hay was ordered to be the mandatory, but he took the Bellew fight. So they want their mandatory to no, he's not going to fight an interim. Where you getting your news? I'm about to block you for a couple of minutes. You one of the people that just don't want to be wrong. I'm going to block you for a couple of seconds. You're in timeout. So I get to put people in timeout now. You know, when they start talking dumbass shit. But anyway, he made me forget my train of thought. So yeah, Joseph Parker is in a situation where it's like, yo, now you got to fight nothing but good fights now. You can't fight, you know, Andy Ruiz is a good fighter, but you can't fight, you know, same thing for Anthony Joshua. There's no more fights like Eric Molina for Anthony Joshua anymore. You know, maybe Joseph Parker may be able to get away with some Charlie Cutting. Huey Fury is now a mandatory. People need to catch up. Also, Miller versus Hugh would have been a good eliminator. Well, from what Big Baby Miller is saying, yes, Huey Fury is supposed to be the mandatory. But from what let me go to his damn, because y'all just making shit up and forgetting it's my job to know this shit, even though I'm not right all the time. But y'all just blurting out just any old shit. Where is it at? Put on Instagram. What's his Twitter? Oh, there it is. Oh, my bad. Okay, so we're gonna go to his Twitter and let's see what he posted, since y'all just want to be saying anything. Okay, y'all see this, right? Parker won. He looked like shit. I'm supposed to get the mandatory from what I heard because Huey Fury didn't want to do title eliminator. Hayes the mandatory first. No shit head. He's fighting Bellew. He's out of the title shot. See what I'm saying? I'm glad he put people be fucking talking dumbass shit. You know, when they try to, like, don't you hate that when somebody tries to like tell you, you know, you don't know what you're talking about, but then you know, like, yo, you don't know what you're talking about. Can y'all see this? Can y'all read it clearly? He put dude right in his place. But yes, Hay was the mandatory. He's not the mandatory anymore. He's not the mandatory because he chose to fight Tony Bellew for the money. Is that understood? Is that understood? All right. We have 15 minutes left. We have 15 minutes left. So, you know, the heavyweight division with Deontay Wilder, since we already talked about okay, Anthony Joshua is the IBF. We talked about the fact that he's going to fight Wladimir Klitschko for the IBF and the WBA Super World. I don't know how they're fighting for a vacant title. I don't know how in fact, it's not like it's the vacant WBA, but they're fighting for the vacant WBA Super World title. I don't know how they pulled that off, but it's the WBA. It's about the money, and, you know, they wanted to make this big fight. Joseph Parker, we talked about how he's going to be fighting either Huey Fury or Big Baby Miller, but according to Big Baby Miller, it may be him. What else? What other belt? We got the WBO, we got the WBA. Oh yeah, we talked about the WBA World, where it could be Luis Ortiz versus Shannon Briggs, or Luis Ortiz versus Ustinov again, or Shannon Briggs versus Ustinov for the WBA World. When it comes to the WBC, we got Deontay Wilder returning. Word is, well, since Huey Fury may not fight for that WBO, will he fight Deontay Wilder? That's something to think about, because his name was already mentioned with Deontay Wilder. So maybe he won't fight that. Maybe he won't go that WBO route to fight Deontay Wilder. You know, maybe that can be why. But Wilder is rumored to be fighting Huey Fury when he returns. You know, but it's only rumors, and he will be returning in March, and then after that, Deontay Wilder still, and if you want to try to correct me, I'm going to curse you out. Go look it up yourself. He will still have to fight Alexander Povetkin, not Alexander Povetkin or Stavern, because even though Povetkin versus Stavern is still happening next Saturday, only Povetkin can go on to fight Wilder because Stavern failed the drug test. So because of their legal situation, Wilder can fight Huey Fury or a voluntary. I really, it's really a confusing situation still, because he's already had 3 voluntaries. But depending on the timing of things and depending on how aggressive Povetkin's promoter is for Wilder for that Povetkin fight, then Wilder and Povetkin still have to fight in the summer, or very least late summer. And then Wilder's going to go on to probably likely fight, due to a Showtime obligation, the winner of Anthony Joshua and Wladimir Klitschko. You know, so if you look at the heavyweight division as a whole, if you look at the heavyweight division as a whole, it's really like that, because there's so many storylines in the division. And then, of course, you know, whatever David Haye is going to do if he beats Tony Bellew, and then what if Tony Bellew beats David Haye? He's talking about fighting Anthony Joshua and all those guys. You know, so the heavyweight division is really, you know, like lit right now. The heavyweight division is really doing, you know, like some major things. So as I said, what I'm going to be doing is we're going to be here for another 11 minutes. And I'm sorry, I really don't have Anthony Joshua beating Wladimir Klitschko, yo. And he said it. He said, I've been in this game, you know, 26 years. He has a very high ring IQ. Also, Anthony Joshua not being as athletic, like he hasn't shown us that he can use really angles, and he doesn't have really good upper body movement or head movement. I really think that Wladimir Klitschko is going to tie him up. Tyson Fury was using angles and didn't allow Wladimir Klitschko to tie him up. I really feel that Wladimir Klitschko is going to tie Anthony Joshua up, and he doesn't care if it's an ugly, nasty fight or not. You know, he's probably going to school him. You know, I understand that everybody's riding the AJ wave and everything, but yo, Wladimir Klitschko may be 41 when he gets into the ring, but dude is no joke. Why are y'all underestimating him? You know, Anthony Joshua is going to be fighting someone that's alive, even though he's older, someone with real boxing skills. You know, he's fighting somebody, you know, Wladimir Klitschko can box. Wladimir Klitschko got hands. You know, so I don't know why people keep underestimating him, man. You know, and I understand, like, you know, I understand that, you know, a lot of people that just, you know, hype for Anthony Joshua. He's good. He's good, but all the people have been fighting have been, you know, not in the best shape, or, you know, flabby looking guys that have not known to have good boxing ability, or guys that have not done nothing. So listen, I got Klitschko, but I wouldn't be surprised if Klitschko loses. But yo, y'all just, I'm sorry, y'all disrespecting Wladimir. Y'all disrespecting him. Yes, he had a bad fight against Tyson Fury, but Tyson Fury knew not to sit there and try to trade hands and try to box Wladimir Klitschko. Anthony Joshua's not going to use those angles like that. Anthony Joshua's going to be right there, and all it takes is one. Just like Anthony Joshua be knocking people out with one shot, Wladimir Klitschko do the same shit. And Anthony Joshua don't show no head movement. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to break it to you, but y'all need to do some research. You're over there riding that Anthony Joshua hype train. And it's not a hype train. He's good. Where's Brian Jennings? Brian Jennings is probably back in Philly or somewhere right now. He was over training with Povetkin. He was on like a he was over training with Povetkin. You know? So like I said, you know, Anthony Joshua was good. He would beat a lot of these heavyweights out here. But he just don't have no movement, you know? Wladimir has a glass chin. When did Wladimir have a I'm not even going to Hamza Kalak. I'm not even going to talk. You're a kid. When did Wladimir have a glass chin? You know, what, a decade ago? Wladimir has been tagged plenty times after that. Kubrat Pulev was tagging him up. You know, and let's not forget about the stories we heard of Anthony Joshua in sparring and all that, whether you want to believe it's true or not. Those stories are out there. And yes, Klitschko never moved his head either. See, y'all being petty now. Y'all being like females. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all acting like females. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm talking to the people who are saying that Anthony Joshua is just going to completely destroy Wladimir Klitschko. That's the people I'm talking about. Those are the people I'm talking about. We haven't seen Anthony Joshua pass 7 rounds. You know, y'all want to go tit for tat. Y'all want to go tit for tat to some, well, Wladimir Klitschko got beat up in sparring too. Wladimir Klitschko got stamina problems too. Who am I arguing with? My baby mom? Who am I arguing with? Who are we talking to? All I'm saying is y'all talking like Wladimir Klitschko is nothing. Like he not, you know, that's all I'm saying. It's going to be an excellent fight. And if Anthony Joshua beats Wladimir Klitschko, I'm not going to be the one that's going to say, oh, well, Wladimir Klitschko is 41 years old. He had no business being in there. Wladimir Klitschko was off for 16 months. I'm not going to be that guy saying that. Wladimir Klitschko ain't no joke. Anthony Joshua know he ain't no joke. So, he come on, dude can box, even if his mobility not where it used to be. And if you look at him, he's looking a little thinner in there. And a fighter like Wladimir Klitschko, you got to understand he's a very intelligent person inside and outside of the ring. Right? Very. So this time off may be good for him. I thought that he kept postponing the fight with Tyson Fury, or, little shit kept happening, injuries and everything, because he was fine-tuning shit. You know? That's the thing. Can Wladimir take Joshua shots? But can Joshua take Wladimir shots? Because Vlad gonna hit him at least once. Because Anthony Joshua don't use angles. Vlad gonna tag him at least once. We saw Dillian Whyte gave him a little, That's all I'm saying. I'm not hating on Anthony Joshua. I like Anthony Joshua. He's good for boxing, but now it's time. I mean, he's stepping up. He's stepping up. He's stepping up. Thoughts on Adrian Granat? I don't know, man. I heard of the name. Y'all be throwing these. I watch a lot of boxing, but it's too many names. Adrian Granat. I don't know. And then where's he from? Is he from the UK? How am I going to watch him, bro? Let's watch him on YouTube. Yeah, right? He keep But I know, right? I'm surprised the chat didn't ban him or get him for spam. Keep posting Adrian Granat name. I don't know, bro. Adrian Granat could potentially beat Anthony Joshua, very good fighter. We don't know that. He ain't fought nobody. Could potentially. There's a whole bunch of fighters that look good out there that's 20-0 with 20 knockouts, fighting guys who have a combined record of 13 and 346. I'm not saying that's true, but I hate when people just start bringing up these fights. Well, such and such can beat this guy. Have you heard of this guy and this guy? Don't work like that in this business, man. Everybody looks good, you know? All these fights I be having to watch. I'm sorry I'm going on a little rant. I've just been talking for so long. I've been doing videos all day. Kind of feels good, and we still got so many more left to start on. Yeah, that was Charles Martin. Exactly, that was Charles Martin, one of those guys that had a good-ass resume, but ain't never do shit. Come on, man. Granada's a 6'8" prospect. A prospect, that's what he is. Let's leave him there. That's not. I don't talk about prospects versus champions. I never did that. I've never been one of them people that's like, oh, well, this prospect, you know, okay. I've never been one of them people, you know, and I don't do fantasy matchups. I hate when people come to me, well, who would win between Sugar Ray Leonard and Keith Thurman at a catch weight of 152? I don't do that shit. You know, I'm all that brain. I don't do that, man. Who would win if he would have put Anthony Joshua in with Jack Johnson? Come on, man. Got ahead with that crap. I don't do that. I don't have time to waste my time on that shit, man. Why does AJ need to go past 7 rounds? I'm not saying he does. Don't be a female. Those are female questions. I'm not saying he does. I'm not saying he does. But anyway, guys, I got to get out of here in a couple of minutes. Remember what I'm going to do is I still got like 6 more videos or 7 more videos to pump out tonight. You know, and then around 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., depending on, it's going to be an hour after the last fight goes off of the night, the last fight of the night. Whatever time that goes off, I'm going to do a stream right after that, and we'll be able just to chill and fall back. It's going to be about 2 hours, maybe 3 hours long. You know, so I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. I'm going to be uploading highlights. I've been doing it all day. Don't start your shit. I've been uploading highlights all day to my Instagram. The link is right down below in the description box. You know, it's a FightView 360 or TST Controversy on Instagram. The website is launching. I want to do it on Christmas Day, but they're saying that you don't want to do it on Christmas Day because you may have IT problems because people may be off and everything like that. So maybe the day after Christmas or the day before. So I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. I believe we covered everything we need to cover as far as the heavyweights are concerned. And then later on, the stream we'll do later on tonight, we'll go into more detail and everything and including the fights that are coming on next week. Please subscribe.